you got Dolphins is smoking boys, and the Bills is doing their
Man,
thing.
Rex Ryan said best, man. And I like Tua. I was rooting for the Dolphins to make a splash this year in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Man, when they lost the game to the Bills and I saw they had to go to Arrowhead, I was like, oh, it's over.
yeah,
I said, see, some teams, and I should have known the way they was losing the big top teams. They wasn't just losing, they were like getting blown out. I'm like,
yeah.
so when y'all win big, but then when y'all lose big. That don't bode well in postseason.
Gotta get.
You gotta tighten that up. You
Mhm.
can't give up that many points. Defense was definitely slacking throughout the
Yeah,
season.
and I
And if
think,
the offense wasn't overpowering, they was going, end zone for end zone.
yeah,
Yeah,
yep, that's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
And
The Dolphins got exposed toward the end of the season for sure.
yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. But they got a good core too. Tyreek, man, to me, that's an MVP candidate, bro. Like every
Yeah,
year, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? That's he's unreal, man. He's just a machine. I don't know how he do it, man. So
It didn't help that Waddle got hurt too. So they double covered Tyreek. They didn't have to worry
yep,
about Jalen Waddle being on the loose.
yep,
So
yep,
injuries definitely played a part toward the end. I'll give you that. But
yeah.
they
So
were fun to watch while they were healthy though. They were definitely fun to
were,
watch.
man. They
Yeah.
were, and I'll see what they do in our division next year, man. It's gonna be interesting. Depending on where we go, we gonna be in the bottom for a while, but I think we'll be back up. I think we'll be back up soon. So,
If the Houston Texans can do what they did this year with a rookie quarterback, anything is possible. CJ Stroud, talk about
boy,
unexpected.
that's a special man, boy. That is a special young man. He's cold, man. And that division's gonna be different too, because when Richardson gets back too, like he's gonna get back healthy. And who
Titans are
is this?
gonna fall off because they losing Derrick Henry. They fired their coach. They lost Henry, so
Uh,
the Titans are gonna fall off. Texans are
and
gonna be up, and
that
then I need
that's
the what's they Jaguars. I need the
that. Yep.
Jaguars to either pull the reins in on Lawrence because he played through an injury he probably shouldn't have,
Yeah.
and that ultimately cost them the division.
Mm-hmm.
Because as soon as he got hurt, they were winning that division up until he got hurt,
Like
and then
what, 7-3, 7-2, or something like that.
they
It was
were, they were. But you watch NBA. Anytime one of your favorite players get a high ankle sprain, they don't play the next game.
yeah, yeah.
And Lawrence played 5 days after the diagnosis. I'm like, I've never seen that. I don't think he should have did that. He went
Especially
1-6 in his last 7. I was like, that ain't you see that.
yeah.
You
It's not a
literally
good.
handed the division to the Texans just by playing on an injury you shouldn't have played on.
Yep.
And I was going back and forth with my man Tone about this on the podcast. I was like, is it fair to blame the coach for not
Mm.
reining him in, or hold it solely on the player for basically saying, screw that, I want to keep playing,
It's
even though
tough.
I'm not 100%. Who does that really? In your eyes, who does that fall on? In your opinion?
That's tough because I've heard like these conversations in the podcast before, like with former players, and it's finding that knowing what's best for you through situations like that, but sometimes also listening to the coaching staff.
Yeah,
Like live to fight another day, and it's easier in a sport like basketball where you got so many games.
that's true.
So
That's very true.
in football, you sit out, that can shift your whole season. So it's tough. I remember 2 years ago, Pat was hurt, and Andy Reid was like, "Bro, sit your ass down for a little bit." He was on the sideline, like, "Man, oh what?" And his ankle was something had messed up in the
Yeah,
game.
I think he had an ankle sprain too. He had something similar to it. I remember that he played
Yeah,
on one leg most of the season. I remember that.
yep, yep. And I think he ended up coming back in the game later, but at that time, Andy Reid was like, "Bro, sit down, bro. Like, just sit down for a second." And you got some players you just got to push through, but it's tough. I don't know who to really blame is, but I think since Trevor Lawrence is still younger, you got to put that on the coach. You got to say, hey, you got to put that on the coach. But see, they was riding high, like
They
you
was
said.
riding high.
Thought they can just weather the storm with that because they had the cushion to do it.
What I
Now if
think
they
they should have did, you brought up a valid point, the cushion, right? So what I would have did is, even if he's not 100% compromised, I need you to sit out maybe 2 or 3 games. Give me like 2 or 3 weeks. We'll see how your leg looks by then. Do some rehab, rest up. We'll gradually get you back out there, get some snaps. We'll see how you look in practice, leading up to the warm ups. Leading up to the games. We'll make it a game day decision.
yeah,
4 weeks out.
Yeah.
Because they had enough wins, like you said, they had enough wins. You could afford to lose maybe 3 or 4 games and still
If-
come out and be healthier for the playoffs than what you was.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's unfortunate too, because they had, like you said, they had it. They had everything.
They had. I mean, to your point, football is a lot. It's extremely short, 17, 18 weeks. You had enough wins. You could have lost a few games, or at least let the backup try to manage through 2 or 3 games. Because I'm not saying you would have lost all of them. You
Yeah.
could have went 500 in those 4 games. Go two
Mm.
and two, split them out,
It's a
and then
win-win.
come back in and slowly work your way up. You still could have made a splash in the playoffs and been better off than what you was versus playing all 7 games as a starter. And we could clearly see you weren't the same player.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.